In a previous video, we went to a park created from an existing bridge over the Mississippi River. Swing Bridge Park featured a structure that had previously linked two places in a setting dedicated to the history of that bridge and its former importance to the community. Upriver in downtown Minneapolis, there is a similar structure. This bridge wasn't designed to physically link sites on opposite banks. Rather, it links floors of the building into which it is anchored. Jutting 178 feet from its parent building, this structure has, in its first 17 years of existence, become a destination for citizens of its community as well as tourists the world over. Its character enhancing both the building to which it is anchored, as well as the hearts and minds of its visitors. This is the Guthrie Theater's Endless Bridge. Sir Tyrone Guthrie founded his namesake theater in 1963, having spent the prior 4 years courting various locales in search of a place to put on stage productions without the baggage associated with Broadway, London, and other theatrical institutions. Minneapolis, Minnesota received Guthrie with open arms, incorporating his vision into their burgeoning arts community. The original theater was built onto the Walker Arts Center, opening in May 1963 with Hamlet. The venue featured a single thrust stage modified for theater in the round style seating. For over 4 decades, the Guthrie established itself as an internationally renowned performing arts venue. Under the leadership of director Joe Dowling, the Guthrie sought to create a new destination performing arts center. At the turn of the 20th century, a site on the west bank of the Mississippi River on the opposite side of downtown from the original theater was selected to develop a 285,000 square foot building. It's into that building we find ourselves today. The present-day Guthrie is an open space where the public is welcome during operating hours of 11 a.m. through the evening, with later hours during days with scheduled performances. The ground floor lobby features a ceiling opening up to the 3rd story. The entry has several displays showcasing the history of the theater as well as the communities that have historically called the banks of the Mississippi home. Theater staff are available to answer questions, direct visitors, and there is a small gift shop featuring items themed to current and past productions, as well as the building itself for all ages to take home. Access to the stages, restaurants, Endless Bridge, and various public spaces is by elevator today, the 2 massive escalators being closed today, as is often the case on days without a scheduled performance. Glass windows on either side of the elevator cab show our movement up to the 4th floor lobby. Part of myself will forever remain at the Guthrie. I worked for a food service contractor in the building from 2014 through early 2018, and I spent a lot of time between shifts utilizing the coffee shop, free public Wi-Fi, and comfortable lobby accommodations. The 4th floor lobby sits between 2 of the building's 3 performance spaces. The blue glass to the right offers a glimpse of the backstage area shared by the Wordle Thrust and McGuire Proscenium stages, with a skyway connecting to the scene shop housed across 2nd Street above the theater's parking garage. The passage is tall enough to accommodate the movement of massive set pieces, and has also served as a makeshift dining room for the opening and closing night dinners I once catered. The elevator across the lobby allows public access to the 9th floor and the Dowling Studio space atop the theater. For now, we pass through the 4th floor lobby, getting a look at the ghosts. These scenes from performances at the now demolished former theater location are delightfully haunting watermarks that call out to visitors during open hours. Turning right at the end of the lobby brings us past the excellent parkway views afforded outside of the proscenium stage. These comfortable seats are a great place to rest after walking the river trail outside, and afford the public a peaceful, air-conditioned space to dwell in their thoughts. Going back through the lobby, we're now moving along the perimeter of the orchestra-level seating of the iconic Wordle Thrust stage. If the theater seems a bit sleepy today, That's to be expected. Since the building opened, the theater has consistently scaled back its idle time bar and restaurant offerings, functioning only as a public space in which to spend time. The various bars that were a part of the original layout of the building have not been utilized consistently since the first years of operation, in an effort to keep operating costs minimal so that the lobbies remain free, open public spaces. Even while I was employed there, the various lounges and seating areas are typically occupied by theater staff, local residents, and other wanderers who utilize the spaces for respite and recollection. The theater has in-house security and is generally a serene, clean, and nice place to spend some time. The Target Lounge makes up the first part of the Endless Bridge we'll tour. Built into the underside structure of the cantilever, this space is a low-ceiling cocktail lounge that tries to be a hip and cozy space between evening performances and intermissions. My manager who hired me told me this space was being occupied for a catered event on the afternoon which the 35W bridge collapsed about a mile away in 2007. The tale has it that the concussion wave from the falling structure spread through the building, extinguishing the candles that were lit at window-side tables. This emergency exit door offers access to the catwalk below the bridge. Everything behind the bar is much as I left it years ago, though it's clear my employer has been out of the building for some time, with another local caterer having established operations in the versatile spaces throughout the lobbies. Enough of lobbies, let's walk up the seriously inclined ramp and become part of the endless bridge ahead. The window boxes are mirrored and afford a number of perspectives of the parkland below when viewed from different angles. This ramp is not considered accessible, but wheelchairs and strollers are permitted entry to the bridge via the lobby above, as we'll see in a bit. Mounting the top of the ramp, we're at the end of the bridge's enclosed space. There used to be a central stainless steel bar sitting ahead in this space, the site of my first attempts at bartending almost a decade ago. The Guthrie offers sweeping views from every window, which is why so many locals and tourists make it a part of their plans. I used to work a variety of catered events here, from multi-day industrial conferences that took up space throughout the lobbies and auditoriums, to small gatherings of a dozen well-to-do friends that had reasons to celebrate. Truthfully though, anyone can celebrate at the Guthrie. As an open space dedicated to the community, the building is the de facto living room of Minneapolis for all to enjoy, though its open hours have been curtailed in recent years. The structure of the Endless Bridge is a steel cantilever, supported by the building to which it is anchored. Renowned architect Jean Nouvel is responsible for the innovative design of the Guthrie's riverfront campus. Its proximity to a number of historic bridges gives the Endless Bridge excellent structural company, while the neighborhood's historic grain mills are echoed in the multiple towers adorning the theater. Pushing open the heavy doors, we emerge onto the exterior portion of the bridge. This observation deck is already gathering interested families who have no doubt come to place themselves in this amazing panorama of the place where the Mississippi River Gorge continues to cut away at its banks, as it has for millions of years in its march upstream. This amazing space is often more than refreshingly breezy, so hold on to your hat as we walk down to the edge. There's places to sit, stand, and lean in contemplation of one's place in the world here. Underslung below and behind the terrace is another emergency exit gangway. I wouldn't recommend coming down here if you're bothered by spiders. Even 55 feet above the parkway below, arachnids will call any space along the banks of the Mississippi River home. Returning inside, we walk up the ramp to the 5th floor restaurant. Built into the lobby, this space is where I cut my teeth in the service industry. This restaurant is designed to serve guests before performances, but these tables and seats are not off limits to visitors, and public restrooms are always available. Tell that to the crowds back on Broadway. Speaking of which, check out the fixtures and design of the men's room. Don't worry, I made certain it was empty before recording. True story, it wasn't entirely uncommon to find visitors confusing the similarly waist-mounted hand wash sinks with urinals throughout the years, which this swanky restroom graced the riverfront. Making our way through the restaurant, we're one floor above where we got off the elevator. This coffee lounge is another presently unutilized space that holds a lot of sentimentality for me. This is where I learned to make espresso drinks while gazing at Minneapolis skyline views, reflecting on my place, contributing to the experiences of patrons and visitors alike. Down the hallway from the cafe is the balcony-level entrances to the truss stage. Outside of both stages are backlit window pane images from production photos of decades past. So many great actors have graced these halls and the prior building. The bartender who trained me here would describe how she often chatted with Patrick Stewart during his short stint as a guest performer years before at the old building. Truly, during my time here, I felt integral to the Guthrie, even though I wasn't technically employed by the theater itself. The staff, performers, patrons, and building visitors all shared a sense of our importance to this one place in the community, where so many ideas and visions intersected. Though I've since moved on in the service industry, I can't help but feel like I could find myself among the ghosts in the walls of the Guthrie. We're now going to access the 9th floor in its amber box. There are multiple elevators within the Guthrie, the 2 main shafts running from the 1st floor, but the east elevator is only publicly accessible from the 4th floor up. Up the elevators, the 9th floor's Dowling Studio lobby is an amazing vaulted space, affording great views of downtown architecture and plenty of natural light. The Dowling Studio is a black box theater. Rectangular and seating about 200 patrons, it can be configured for a variety of small productions. The focus of this space is smaller community theater companies that utilize the high profile of the theater to get their work out to a greater number of patrons. While I had some amazing memories in the corners of this room, it's the amber box, formerly dubbed the Citizens of Minnesota Overlook, that is the gem of this space. The story goes, the John Nouvel designed this spot with yellow glass windows so that visitors could have a wide and deep perspective of the mystic Mississippi and city of Minneapolis that would be colored in the hue of youthful positivity and wonder. I recall seeing many sunrises and sunsets from these windows. Embedded into the floor is a thick, transparent window, showcasing the distance to the lobby roof below. If you're not keen on heights, don't look down while you're up here. A trip back down the elevator and we'll be headed back out into Minneapolis and on to other bridges. Minnesota seems to be building a fascination with turning bridges into piers. While these structures don't physically link places, they do create and extend fascinations of places that may not have been in the minds of visitors before. Thanks for visiting the Guthrie with me today. Check out these other videos for places with additional character. Until then, keep changing your horizons and take care.